Hello and welcome. My name is Lexi and today we're going to take a look at the new La Bouche Rouge lipstick sets that were released for Valentine's Day. There are 3 limited edition sets. I picked up all 3 of these, and let me start off by telling you why I think these are actually a good deal. If you are familiar with La Bouche Rouge lipsticks, they are a clean beauty brand. We'll talk about a little bit more details about that in a few minutes. But basically, they are refillable lipsticks that look like this. And you purchase the cases, you can buy the cases themselves. These are $80. So they retail for $80. You can occasionally find them on sale, or they'll have like a deal on their website or something. And then the refill component is $40, $45, depending on the shade. And by the way, you can use the refills on their own. You can just twist those up. And they come in a cardboard packaging. I'll show you that in a minute. But these are magnetic, they snap in, and basically these sets are $79 US instead of the $80 for the case. So the case itself is $80, the refill $40 or $45. You can buy sets. A lot of times they have a set where you get a case and 2 refills, or you can buy just a case and a refill. They're still going to be more expensive than this. So I actually think these are a good value. They are limited edition. All 3 of the sets come with this same soft pink leather case. Now this is the kind of pink that's more of like a blush pink. So, you know, it's not like a bubblegum pink. It's not that bright, very subtle, kind of like a dusty blush. Now, let's take a look at how the sets come packaged, because they do make a great gift, whether it's for yourself or somebody else. I decided to gift them to myself. So we have packaging like this. This is a sleeve. And for the Valentine's Day packaging, it does come with the red lips on there. But if you purchase one of their other sets, this is just going to be solid white. You do have the ingredients labeled on the back. And by the way, these have a 1-year shelf life. I have to say I have been keeping mine longer than that with no issues. Inside you have a white box. On the back you have the kind of La Bouche Rouge information. And this is heavy duty cardboard. I save these and use them to, you know, gift different things in there. And you've got a piece of, you know, like a cardboard postcard with information about La Bouche Rouge, one side in English, one side in French. And then here you go. This is your refill and your case. You can see you've got a ribbon. You can lift this up, so then you just have a plain reusable cardboard box. And let's take a look at the refills. So your refills come packaged like this. This is, again, heavy duty cardboard, and you can definitely just use a refill on its own. And I actually do have some of these without cases at the moment, but this is the actual lipstick. And you can see it twists up here, very easy to use. I like that you can use a refill without having to buy a case if you don't want to. And, you know, again, the cases, you've got a mirror on the bottom. The top has the La Bouche Rouge logo. You've got leather here. And then inside, you can see the side that it will clip in. You can see it's kind of got that octagonal bottom, and the top does not. And this will just snap in, and then the lid's magnetic. So just to show you, if you choose to do engraving on their website, I believe it's $10 US to get the engraving. I got my initials engraved on this one, and you can see you can actually get 3 letters or a heart as well. So if you are doing 3, usually they do 2 on the top, 1 on the bottom. So just something to note there. So let's take a look at the shades in the sets. So this is the blushing nude set, and that's the same name as the lipstick shade. So we've got blushing nude. This is actually going to be a matte. There's 1 layer, and this is very, very buildable. Okay, so you can see how much deeper you can get when you build that up. This is going to be kind of a pinky nude, a little bit of a dusty pinky nude. And, you know, I'd say it's a pretty neutral undertones. They describe it as having cool undertones. I would say it's more neutral than cool. It's not quite as cool as the other 2 we're looking at either. But it is cooler than a lot of what some other companies say are cool neutrals. But yes, I would just say this is neutral in general. Next, we have the one on my lips. This is called Pink Valentine. This one here is a satin. And you can see that both the satin and the matte finishes don't look that different on the lips. These are not going to be that much more shiny than the mattes. These are really more of a soft satin matte type formula, and the satin is still going to be a bit more of a subtle satin. So this is Pink Valentine. It was inspired by crushed raspberries. To me, it's a bit more of a strawberry pink than a raspberry pink. I feel like raspberries, if you get like the perfect raspberry and you crush that, it's going to be a little bit cooler than this. This is a little bit warmer, but it is still going to be a cooler toned pink. But if you're looking at the scale, warm, neutral, cool, this is kind of right towards the border of cool and neutral. And last up, we have another matte. This one is called Red Romance, and this is going to be a cool toned pinky red. So you've got kind of those blue base tones in there. That's what makes it so cool. This is going to be the coolest of the three. This one to me looks more like crushed raspberries. It's a little bit more red than a true crushed raspberry, but definitely has more of those undertones to me. And I have to say, I really like all three shades, but my favorite is probably this Red Romance, which again is really more of a deep bright pink than a true red. Don't get me wrong, it's red, but it's definitely more of a pink based red than, you know, either neutral or like fiery. So let's talk a little bit about these lipsticks while we look at the lip swatches. If you are new to La Bouche Rouge is a clean beauty brand that really focuses more on sustainability and reusability of products. So they do always use refillable packaging, and they don't use any microplastics or silicones in their lipsticks. Now, these lipsticks are all formulated with what they term the 3 golden oils, and that would be 100% organic virgin jojoba oil. They are using a vegetable-based squalane that uses olives. It's 100% olives. And there's also shea butter that they source from a, according to them, responsible West African company. It's not actually named. For each lipstick purchase, they also donate 100 liters of drinking water as part of the Eau Vive International Foundation there. So they are partnered with them. The lipsticks also contain hyaluronic acid, vitamin E, and the way they actually utilize their pigments, they micronize them, then infuse them in a vegetable oil so that they get pure, intense color. This is directly from their website. It's an ultra comfortable and smooth application and perfect fix. So that's kind of, you know, some of their basic tenets of their company. And I have to say, I really do enjoy the products I've used from them. There have been a few hits and a few misses, but overall, I would have to say that they are a brand I like. I really appreciate their philosophy. Now, as I mentioned during the arm swatches, I do think both the satin and the matte formulas are fairly similar. The satin is a little bit more hydrating and comfortable on my lips. Once the matte dries down, it does, you know, I just don't feel any sort of emollient texture, which I really like. So, you know, it's not that it's drying my lips out, but it just goes back to their ordinary dry state. So I like to top those off. The satin, you know, gives me a little bit more hydration than that. So that's kind of the main difference between them. But I do feel, though, that the mattes perform just slightly better. I have a couple of wear tests here to show you of how the matte and the satin lipstick perform after a few hours. All right, so it has been 5 hours since I applied the Blushing Nude shade. And this is the matte formula. I've had lunch with this on and, you know, had some water from my water bottle and so forth. So let me go ahead and bring you in closer. You can see it is definitely holding up well. It does feel a little dry, but I'll show you that up close. All right, so I just want to be clear. You can see the pigment is holding up fairly well. It has definitely faded from what was left before. This is essentially just a stain that is left on my lips. My lips feel dry now, not that the lipstick itself has dried them out, but this is what my lips feel like without anything on them. So it has gone back to that condition. They don't feel hydrated any longer, but they don't feel drier than they were before I applied lipstick either. So yeah, this is how it performs. All right, so this is the Pink Valentine shade after 4.5 hours. So pretty close to what we did with the matte, and you can see it's performed really well. I actually didn't really have like a full meal with this. I've just had a whole bunch of water. So, you know, it does look a little bit better than it would if I had eaten dinner yet. But, you know, overall it's held up well. And let me bring you in closer. So with this one, again, I was pretty much just drinking, not actually eating with this lipstick on, and it maintained that more emollient texture for a few hours, actually. It wasn't until, you know, relatively recently that it turned really into just a stain on the lips. And overall, though, I think it's held up really well. The matte one held up really well. They both, like now, it just feels like my lips with nothing, like with no product on there. I don't feel any sort of emollient texture anymore, yet they don't feel more dry than when I started either. My lips are kind of dry right now, just in general. So yeah, that's how it has performed, and I hope this was helpful. I'm just going to share with you a few comparisons of some of the other La Bouche Rouge lipstick shades I have that are fairly close to these. So let's start off with Le Rouge Rosy. So this was actually done with Rosie Huntington Whiteley, and you know, she now has her own makeup brand, but I believe they did this collab. I think it started before her company actually launched. So this is the Le Rouge Rosy. And you can see that those two are going to be fairly similar in color. I feel like Red Romance is just a little bit richer, but you know, honestly, they are so super, super close. So I just double checked. At the bottom of these, you can see you've got the name here, but there's also a code number. And on the La Bouche Rouge website, you can also kind of create your own lipstick shade as well. And I was just double checking the numbers there to see how close. They are different, the code numbers between Red Romance and Le Rouge Rosy. They're very close in number, but they are going to be slightly different. So yeah, there is just a slight difference there. Again, though, it's really pretty darn close. Another one that I wanted to share with you, this is Jean Vito Red, and this is one of their newest collaborations. And I do have a video featuring these. You can see that this one here is going to be a bit warmer in tone than Red Romance. It's a bit more neutral. Really beautiful shade though. So this one's going to be more neutral than Red Romance or than Le Rouge Rosy. This is Le Nude Rosy. So part of that same collection that I mentioned with Rosie Huntington Whiteley, but this was the nude shade that she had in there. And you can see this is going to be a little bit of a pinker nude. The blushing nude shade is just a touch more rosewood than this one. This one's definitely going to have more rose in it. And this one here is actually the very first one I ever bought. This was Nude Pink. And you can see here that this shade doesn't quite go with any of these. This is really, Nude Pink is a good term for this. It's a little bit cooler in my opinion. Well, it's probably about the same coolness as Blushing Nude, but the balance of the colors is a little different. So while they're both pretty neutral, this one has a little bit more, you know, more of a nude brown with a pink, whereas this is going to have more of a rosewood mixed with a little bit of a true pink. And then compared to Pink Romance, I actually don't have any shades like that from La Bouche Rouge. So I hope this was helpful. Overall, I do really like the La Bouche Rouge lipsticks. I love their case, their philosophy, and the lipsticks themselves are a very thin layer of pigment that you feel on your lips. Almost feels more like a very light lip balm on the lips, especially going on. Even the mattes feel that way for about half an hour or so when it dries down and ends up just feeling like your lips for a while. So, you know, overall, I think they're a very nice, you know, thin textured lipstick, and they give a nice veil. You can buff them out and get kind of that blurred lip look. So those are my thoughts on those. I'd love to know if you've tried them, what you think of them, and what you think of these sets. Which one's your favorite? So please share down below in the comments. Subscribe and share if you haven't already, and I will see you very soon. Have a wonderful day.